Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Jon, this is a true and welcome to Jon Shafer's At the Gates. Ooh, I have been looking forward to this one. Now, let's start with the title, because just in case you're unfamiliar with Jon Shafer, he's a really interesting guy, this is someone who started off playing Civilization, and then started making mods for Civilization, and then did some playtesting for Civilization, and then started working full-time at Firaxis on Civilization, and then by the time Civilization 5 rocked up, he was basically one of the senior designers for the entire game. So between Civilization 3 and 5, yeah, he went from player and modder to one of the lead designers, which is really cool. It's such a fun story. And he's done various bits and pieces since, but we are back to his one true love here, a great big historical strategy game. So this is really fascinating. I've put a few hours into this already. You can see lots of influences and connections and shared inspirations with Civilization, but there's a lot of really fun new stuff as well. So, it's spring 400 AD, and not all is well in the state of Rome, because that's what this game is actually about. At the gates, of course, referring to the expression, barbarians at the gates. This is the period in history when Rome started running into all sorts of problems, one of which was barbarians. And even though this game is all about the fall of the Roman Empire, and the collapse of Rome is kind of the victory condition for the game, you don't get to play as Rome. Instead, you're playing as one of various barbarian factions. On this occasion, I'm playing as like the starting faction that's unlocked at the beginning of the game, which is the Goths, which is a little bit odd historically actually, because yeah, 400 AD, the Goths should not be a tiny faction who were just figuring out how to harvest wheat. They were a major political and military force already. And also, if we're talking 400 AD and my designated king is Alaric, which is what the game says, then really these should be the Visigoths, not the Goths, because the Goths kind of split into the Visigoths and the Ostrogoths. Never mind, that's small historical detail. The point is, we're playing as a barbarian faction who are kind of sometimes willing to work with Rome, and sometimes kind of willing to punch them in the face and steal their stuff. But because this game is kind of a cousin of Civilization, we're starting off as a very small little township. We've got a lot to figure out before we can be talking about destroying Rome. So, one of the big changes from Civilization is, of course, we're dealing with a much smaller time scale here. We're not looking at, like, you know, centuries and millennia or anything like that. We're looking at maybe 1 month per turn. And that means that seasons are a really big part of the game. Right now, I've got myself 15 food, and it's also going down once every turn, because, of course, my tribe is consuming a tiny bit of food as time goes by. And right now, of course, it's spring. At one point, it's going to be winter, and the opportunity to harvest food is going to be basically gone. So my first priority is figure out a source of food, which is why I need to look around here and figure out what's going on, because some things I know what's happening with them. So here, we've got ourselves a field of wheat. And over here, just outside my territory, this is my border right here, we can grow that naturally over time. We've got ourselves a herd of deer. That'd work. We've also got ourselves some minerals here, but I don't know what those minerals are yet. I need someone to go over and survey those minerals to figure out what I'm sitting on. Could be iron, could be an extremely valuable gold mine. Right now, I just don't flipping know. So, I basically need to go and harvest either this wheat or these deer. And that is what my clans are for, who basically form the population system in this game. So right now I've got myself 3 clans in my tribe, out of a maximum of 12, and yeah, I'll need various bits of tech before I can actually increase that cap. That's the number of clans, or pops, I'm allowed inside my tribe. And here are my starting ones, Warren, Vandar, and Rigobert. And these guys start off with various traits that might influence what I want to actually get them doing. So for example, Vandar over here, his 2 traits are violent and aggressive. So if I want soldiers, then I'm almost certainly going to be telling Vandar to be doing that job, because that particular clan is very good at fighting. But in terms of food, I've actually lucked out a little bit here, which is Rigobert, he actually has the trait hunters. So he actually starts off with the hunter profession without having to be trained in any way. So he can just get on with that immediately, which is marvellous because, as I say, we've got deers right over there. So that just works flipping perfectly. So you don't need any training because you've already got a job that you're quite good at. So I'm just going to tell you to leave the settlement, and I'm going to tell you to go over here and go and deal with those deer. Now, as for my other 2 clans, we've already established this guy's good at fighting, but some things never change from Civilization. The first thing we're going to be wanting is an explorer. So Warren, he's got himself, yeah, the creative ability here. So he doesn't really fancy being a soldier or a farmer or working with animals or whatever. He'd much rather be working in some form of craft or sciencey thing or whatever. And exploration counts as that. So Warren, I'm going to tell you to be an explorer. So he's going to get on with that. Marvellous. And that will be done in one turn. So basically, at any given moment, I can be doing something to improve my clans, whether that be giving them a particular specialization, giving them a new job, all of that sort of business. So that's all I need to do with my clans for the time being. And meanwhile up here, we've got ourselves knowledge. This is basically the tech tree, which unlocks more and more jobs, because there are a huge number of jobs that you can actually have in this game. So first things first, I just need to pick a tree to open up, but honestly we'll be opening up pretty much all of these immediately, because once you've actually just spent a single turn opening these up, you can see all the tier 1 jobs that become available. Let's just get agriculture underway for the time being, because yeah, I do have that field of wheat right next to me, so getting a farm set up on that in the not too distant future, probably a good idea. Yeah, this wheat needs a farm on it. This guy goes over here, does some hunting. That should provide me with enough food before we hit winter. And yeah, this guy just happening to start off as a hunter, that's a really, really lucky spawn. Not much we can do other than that, because yeah, the first few turns are going to be very, very quick indeed. Now we just crack on. Everyone else gets their turn, because there are indeed a bunch of other factions out there as well, who are not really necessarily friends, not really necessarily enemies. They might be any of the above. But we've got ourselves a new family. So let's see what you are good at. So Brown Thumb, you are terrible at agriculture. That's a shame. I was kind of hoping for someone who was good at agriculture. So you can't really do that job. And you are a hoarder. So just by arriving, you've added a tiny bit of food and money to the treasury. This guy, meanwhile, should probably head over in this direction. And we've got ourselves some neutrals. So these guys are not bandits or anything. They just basically own this bit of territory. They've actually got themselves, yeah, a nice wheat farm over there and a nice logging camp over there. So at some point when I've built up an army, I might want to go and take this territory off them. But for the moment, at least, live and let live. I just need to focus on doing some basics over in my camp here. Now, because I researched agriculture, I basically now get myself a couple of free points in the agriculture skill I can just assign to somebody. Now, yeah, the new guy who's just showed up, Stygian, he's terrible at agriculture. So Vander, though he will totally make a good soldier in future, I'm going to tell him to get on with agriculture for the time being. So right now he's got himself a discipline agriculture level 2. So say Stygian over here, I could basically totally say, you go in a particular direction. If I needed someone to be a warrior, I'd probably tell him to start specialising in honour. If I needed someone to be managing livestock, that sort of a direction. And once he's got that specialisation, if I tell him to do appropriate jobs, so say an agriculture person doing agricultural work, they'll slowly level up and get better at it. So you want your people to be specialised, but we don't need a warrior just yet. So Vander, just for the time being, I'm going to actually say that you should become, yeah, either a reaper or a gatherer, depending on what I'm wanting you to gather. But it's wheat, so as a result of that, I'm going to tell you to be a reaper, and in one turn, that will be done. He can do that in one turn, because he's got the agricultural specialisation I just gave him, whereas Stygian, it would take him a lot longer. He doesn't have the specialisation, and he's got the negative trait, Brown Thumb. So make sure people are doing appropriate jobs. And we can also see on the tech tree here, because I've actually unlocked agriculture, that means I've now got a whole bunch of options of things I can choose to unlock if I so choose. So farmers is a very good one to get early on, where I can basically convert some wood once I've harvested that into a farm I can plonk down on top of that wheat to basically make it yield a lot more food a lot more quickly. But I'm going to need some wood for that, so I'm not exactly in a desperate hurry for that business. Instead, let's just get tier 1 crafting sorted out here. That can be done in a turn as well. Spot on. So, Vander becomes a Reaper. Crafting will become unlocked as well. Finish my turn. Keep on cracking on here. And yeah, my Explorer is just going to go around and figure out what's happening on the map. And there's Vander. So, Vander is now going to get on with a little bit of foraging, which is going to generate, yep, 3 wheat per turn, meaning we are now into profit on food, which is good, because right now it is early May, and you, my good man, can... Okay, it's going to take you bloody ages just to get through this forest. That's fine, I'm sure you'll get there sooner or later. And we've got another clan joining as well. Bit of bad luck here. This is actually another person who would make a perfect explorer. And once again, as I just actually researched crafting, I get myself 2 free points in crafting to assign to somebody, so that can be Stygian. So Stygian is now basically pretty good at any form of crafting. And crafting actually very conveniently does include wood collecting, which I do desperately need. So he is going to get on with that. She, however, already has a job. She showed up with a job of explorer. So go on. As she's already actually got that job, we'll figure out what she finds in the other direction. Now, with wheat to hand and a wood collector coming in soon, let's just spend 3 turns getting farmers ready to go here. And as soon as we've done that, yeah, we might want to change over from a reaper to a farmer. Because this person, though I've made them a reaper, is not a reaper forever. That is a temporary job that I have given them. Anytime I want to, I can send them back to my capital and change their job, change their specialization. That clan is going to be with me throughout the entire game, but he might do various different jobs during that time. It's a very interesting way of doing pops and jobs. So my explorers head off in their own direction. We find some big open plains in this direction. We find ourselves, yeah, some unknown stone, unknown plants, and some berries we do recognise over here. So yeah, we're going to need to do some surveying to figure all of that out. We should probably get into that sooner rather than later. For the time being, yes, you, my wood collector friend, just get inside the nearest wood, and yeah, I think moving there has burnt all your movement points already, so we'll need to put you to work next time. And for once, I actually do not have anyone back at base. Because, yeah, every single one of my pops, all 5 of them, is heading out to do their own thing in the world. Now, I'm starting to think 2 explorers might be a bit much for this early in the game. So this guy, the creative guy, I'm going to actually bring him back home. You can travel through forest nice and quickly as an explorer. So I'm going to bring him back, and I'm actually going to change his job. So we've actually got one specialised explorer who can get on with all that business herself. But in the meantime, yeah, if you've got no one to actually train or do anything with back home, you can simply tell your settlement to produce treasure, which basically just means, yeah, you get 5 gold for free that turn. June 400 AD, and good news, we've got ourselves someone new who's just shown up here. So they are obsessive and meek. So meek means morale is poor, probably don't want to get them involved in a fight in that case. Can't be trained in social professions either. And obsessive, training time halved if at least 3 turns. Fine, so this person can be trained to do advanced jobs pretty well. Let's see what we can do with you, my good man. So, right now he's got no specialisation, and thus he wouldn't be particularly good at anything. So let's give him a discipline before we do anything else. And metalworking. Because then he can start figuring out what all these rock deposits around here are. And you, my good man, can finally start foraging. Spot on. And my food goes up to plus 4.8. So the food situation is looking good, and it's still summer. So we will not need to worry about starving during the winter. Oh, and better and flipping better, yeah, my wood collector can now actually start collecting wood. So he's going to get on with that as well. And my wood stash, currently 0, is now going up by plus 2. Wood collectors are a little bit on the slow side to collect wood. Absolutely 100% that is true. So we might want to have a second one of them as more people show up. And a caravan has arrived. Flipping marvellous. This is basically just a little trade thing that shows up on occasion that lets you buy things, though, bloody hell, steel weapons. No, I can't afford those. That's 30 gold a go, bloody hell. But if you've got spare of anything, you can sell it to them as well. So if I wanted to, I could sell them excess wood, and if I wanted to buy some tools without having to produce them myself, if I wanted to take a little shortcut up the tech tree, I could just actually spend some money on them. That's probably not a terrible idea, to be honest, because yeah, I've got a decent enough gold stockpile for now, so I'm going to buy myself 5 tools, and I'm going to buy myself 5 weapons. Spot on. I can also spend a tiny bit of money bribing the caravan, so the next time it shows up, it will actually have more stuff I can buy. Which could be very, very useful indeed, so I'm going to do that. Yep, next time the caravan shows up, it will have a better selection of stuff. And there's my 5 tools and 5 weapons. So if I want to actually just rush my way to a warrior, or an archer, or a blacksmith or something, I can now do it. Now, something to watch out for here, we do actually have supply issues. So, people have to be standing on a tile with enough supply to keep them safe. Within your own territory, there's always plentiful supply. Outside of your territory, depends on the season. So, right now in summer, as long as we don't go up into the mountains, we're absolutely fine. So, I'm just going to send my explorer around in this direction, and what is this? Ah, that's tundra. So, unfortunately, yeah, there is zero supply there. So, if this person decides to actually go into this territory, they'll slowly start losing health and morale, which would be kind of bad. So maybe we'll keep the explorer away from there and just send Alram north up here to see what's going on. Might just be a dead end, I'm not sure. Now, with food very much under control at the minute and a very healthy stockpile, I think one thing we do need to do is... you don't really want to be a Reaper anymore, Vander. Being a Reaper is a bit of a not good thing. What we're going to do instead is we're going to send you home and tell you to enter the settlement, which means you now re-enter the ability to be trained. And aha, we've got you over here as well, of course. So now I've got to make a decision here, because I've got Valborg, who's just chilling out here, waiting to be given the job of a digger. And a digger would let me figure out what all these rocks are doing, but it probably isn't quite the highest priority. No, instead, I should probably get a farmer going on here. So, Vander, spend 2 turns becoming a farmer, and then hopefully we can get a few turns of you actually being a farmer out before winter rolls in. And as we have so many rock deposits near us, let's just get metalworking done here, because then I can give +2 metalworking points next turn to the guy who's already got that specialisation. Spot on. Right, July rolls in. I may switch a clan over to metalworking specialisation. That's exactly what I want to do. And it's you. You are now specialisation 3 in metalworking. Works for me, because you're a coward, so probably best we just keep you in the town, working with some metal, doing some mining, stuff like that. And that opens up the possibility of miners. Could be very, very useful indeed. But then again, now I think about it, in order to build mines we need wood, so probably best we actually get loggers out first. So in 3 turns, we can actually toss up a logging camp that will actually get us a whole bunch of wood a whole lot faster. That's probably for the best. And this guy, meanwhile, yeah, my alternative version of a scout, he re-enters the settlement and we can start looking at retraining him momentarily as well. Now, good news all round here. Number 1, my farmer is ready to go. And, we need more timber before we can actually set up the farm. So I've kind of done this in a bit of a wrong order, unfortunately. Yeah, we needed way more wood before we can actually get the farm set up. So I should have actually kept this person as a Reaper a little while longer. But that's fine, because we've now got a giant pile of people, including someone new. What are you good at? So... petty feuding, so basically if he's standing on the same tile as a different pop, there's a chance it might go a bit badly. And frail, ooh, movement points are down and max health is down. Fine, do not let this guy anywhere flipping near combat. Instead, let's get him working on crafting so he can actually get on with gathering wood, because we need more wood as quick as you flipping like. Now, the big one, Valborg, my level 3 metalworker. You need a new job, and your job is going to be digger. So you crack on with that if you be so kind, and then let's start figuring out what these resources are, because they could be very, very valuable indeed. Now, September's showing up, winter's getting closer, and the game is now starting to give me hints about what's coming on. We are looking at a wet winter, so maybe less snow on the ground, less frozen earth, but more rain. Alright, now, for the first time, we've got myself 2 foragers simultaneously. Spot on. So my wood income is now going to start going up very, very quickly indeed. And I've got myself a digger. So you get over there, and sadly I believe that's the end of your turn. Yep, that's the end of your turn. And my scout just discovers, hello, we've got ourselves more people over here. Some more just passing farmers standing on fields of wheat and whatnot. And... yeah, a forest of rare timber. That's a beehive, resources, and school of fish, and a large school of fish. Because, yeah, not all resources are created equal. So this here is only just a standard field of wheat. It could have been a large field of wheat, and then the yield would have been better. Now, few bits and pieces of note here. We have got ourselves 1, a brand new clan, and you guys are, ooh. You guys are shiny and yellow, and I don't know why. Okay, is it because you're esteemed? Oh, you're ennobled. Well, lardy flipping da. Except, oh, that's very bad. Basically, it just means they're going to refuse to do any actual useful work. Marvellous. So what they will do is craftsmanship, being a warrior, or any of the intelligent-y stuff. Got it. It's only metalworking and working with animals and plants they won't do. Gotcha. But here's something important. We've got a caravan. And because we upgraded the caravan last time they were showing up, we can actually buy timber, which is exactly what I need to speed things up a little bit. So, now that has spent a fair bit of money, but it's got me 10 additional wood, which is perfect. Because in the early game, wood is what you need for everything. Your first few mines need wood. Your first big log cabins, you need wood. Wood is very, very important to get in. So I'm gathering yet more food. I actually moved, what was his name? Yeah, Vander back over to Reaper. In the end, that was probably just the better solution right there. And actually, I think we've got one other person as well. Ah, yes, of course. Yes, get out of the way, please. You don't need to be an explorer anymore. We need to change your discipline. And your discipline needs to be crafting, which I believe you can do. Hang on, is there any reason you can't do? No, you're actually creative, so you can actually become a craftsman very, very easily indeed. So let's actually just, train your clan to become a crafting clan, and soon we will actually get you producing our first ever log cabin to get wood coming in nice and quick. You, meanwhile, my first digger, figure out what it is you're standing on. This takes, by the way, 4 months to do, which I suppose is reasonable when it comes to minerals, but the same thing is true for unidentified plants and animals. Like, some guy has to go over and spend 4 months looking at a cow to figure out it's a cow. And 2 other important things have shown up, which is 1, we've run into our first other major faction. So, Cerdic of the Saxons. He's competitive, he's daring, he's an Aryan Christian, and if I know what's good for me, I'll make a token of my appreciation. So I can give him a bit of treasure, or I can give him a bit of food. But if I do that, yeah, my own personal reputation goes down, because people start thinking I'm submissive and everyone else can just walk all over me. But it will mean that my relationship level with this guy will go up. You know what? I'm swimming in food right now. I've done well on food for my first year, so I'm going to give him a bit of food. So he's now warm to me, and my relationship level with him is solid. However, my global reputation has fallen. So let's not worry about that for now. And I've got to choose a clan bonus. Hello. So this effect will be applied to... Ah, this is the new noble clan. So hang on, you guys are... Yeah, because you're ennobled, you actually won't work on anything to do with your hands. Gotcha. You know what? You'd probably make excellent craftspeople. Now I think about it, let's actually have you be level 5 in craft. Yeah, okay. So you jump straight up to level 5 in craftsmanship. Spot on. In fact, as that's happening, I'm going to cancel his changeover, and I'm actually going to have her, she's already level 5, I'm going to have her change over to be a logger. And she can do that in a single turn, because she's now specialised in that sort of thing. Beautiful. And it is October, and we can see autumn and the approach of winter is very much coming up here. I need to watch out for, this guy and his supply. Because right now, he's standing on, a territory that is cold and has no supply attached to it. So what I should probably do is move him down over here onto territory that's always got food. So he's just going to basically spend the winter eating honey over here. Inside my own territory, we should be fine. This guy is... Actually, this guy's not doing so hot at this point. There is a supply shortage because apparently he cannot actually get supplies off the actual deer that he's hunting, which is odd, but whatever. And of course, now it's autumn, we can't harvest food anymore, because while there's a field of wheat there, it's kind of like a field of wheat in waiting. So my food supply is going to start going down. But as winter sets in, you need to recall people back home. Because outside my territory, there's no supplies to have, but inside my territory, there is. Now, let's come up with a better solution for logging as well, which is you guys step away, if you'd be so kind. Just start stepping away from all of this, and my logger. You start making your way over here. It's going to take you a little bit of time to get over there, but this spot here would be an excellent spot for a log cabin, because a log cabin generates more wood for all the forest tiles around it, and this spot has, forest, forest, and forest. So that should be an excellent source of wood. Bit of a problem here. Because everyone's now so close together for the end of the season as they all get brought back home, feuds are now starting to kick off. Which unfortunately means someone needs to be stripped of their profession and discipline and mood permanently reduced. Right. Vandar, I don't actually want you guys to be farmers, so it's gonna be you. And Warren, who I've now retrained as a metalworker, can actually get on with scouting out the other rock deposit as well. So as Vandar's now lost their agricultural focus, we can now instead have them become a hunter if that's what I want to do, but probably we'll just actually keep them unspecialised for the time being, because I've been more interested in them taking on, a more professionalised military role. Oh, winter may be continuing, and that may be bad, but winter is good for one thing in particular, and that is figuring out what all these various deposits are. And my digger has discovered that we are literally sitting on a gold mine, meaning he can just basically start digging right now. 9 treasure a turn. Flipping spot on. And as for our wood supplies, can you actually get a logging camp down right now? You allowed to do that? You know what? We may as well get you working on that so it's ready for spring. So this is where everything starts working for us. Now, new person arrives as well. Ritter, what do we know about you? So, calm, doesn't really like feuds, lovely, and independent. So, nothing major, you're just a bit of an all-rounder, really. So go on then, we may as well actually have you be our new farmer. Admittedly, you're not really wearing the right hat or with the right hairstyle or whatever, but you know what? You will be the most badass farmer that ever lived. Here we go, something very important here. I've just researched honour, meaning that these guys can have themselves a couple of free points of honour if you'd be so kind. So hang on. You, well actually I would like to give that to you. There we go. Class 3 honour. Vandar ready to kick a lot of flipping ass. And in addition, here we go. Now we can start turning these people into actual flipping warriors. And probably a good starting warrior is the Watchman, who can build watchtowers to extend my territory wherever I want. But then again, I already know there are some people nearby. You know what, let's start with Watchman. Nice easy thing to do there, nice easy thing to do. And while we're working on that, you need to get yourself trained as a farmer, which you can do in 3 turns. That'll be spot on as well. Tragically my explorer up north has actually been caught in a blizzard. So they cannot move and will take a little bit of damage over time. Bit of a shame there. But here's the good news right flipping here. My specialised noble craftsman has finished up her log cabin, meaning we're now getting +5 timber every single turn from that. Spot on. And I think it might be worth even more of that when we get back to spring. And you may also notice, by the way, my borders have extended. Building buildings makes them grow, and slapping down watchtowers makes them grow. Because, unlike civilization, there's no settlers. This settlement's the only settlement we've got, but it can control quite a lot of territory between buildings and watchtowers and whatever. But here's the fun thing. What's around me is not permanent. You see this herd of deer up here? It's got its own tiny little health bar, because I've basically been hunting it, potentially to the point of extinction. So at some point the resources that are local to this area will all have been burnt away. And when that happens, we're nomadic barbarians. It's time for us to move on. So we can actually choose to pack up the capital and just move everyone down the road if that's what we want to do. Which is very, very cool indeed. And that's why explorers stay very, very important, because at some point we'll find a better area to live in. And potentially someone else might be living there first and we might just need to kick them out of the joint. And another new clan shows up as well. Terrible at farming is basically all we need to know. Right, various bits of good news here. Ritter is now a farmer, and we have got ourselves enough timber to build a farm. So she is going to get working on that. That's not done for 2 turns, but in 2 turns, spring might have shown up. We've also got ourselves stone here, and with our territory expanding, this stone deposit, or whatever it is also inside our territory. So we can start working on that, and you might as well start foraging on that, quite frankly. Let's just get some stone inside the Empire as well. And here's the big one. Let's actually have a proper unit here. Archers. Let's get some actual troops, because these guys could be persuaded to give up their buildings nice and easily if I had some actual military here. Okay, late February's rolled around and the snow is starting to clear. Marvellous. Spring is just around the corner. We've actually done very well here. We've still got a very healthy food stockpile. Year 1 is mostly just about making sure you flippin' survive. Alright? That's a perfectly reasonable year 1 right there. Year 2, however, that's about building some infrastructure and starting to expand. Now, let's get working here. My farm is done. Right now it's not producing anything because it's too cold, so we can't grow anything there. But this here would be an excellent spot next turn for a second lumberyard. Let's get the wood flipping pouring in, because the trade caravans will buy it from us if we have huge amounts spare. And another clan shows up as well, though we're nearly at our cap for the time being. So yeah, at some point, we need to spend cloth to increase my support limit. So I need to either be able to produce that or buy some from the caravan. This guy is a dabbler, not bad at metalworking, and ooh, he's added tools to the stockpile, and he's loyal. Right, I like this guy. This guy's good. So you, my good man, let's get you working as a miner. It's going to take you a little bit of time to get trained up, but it'll be worth it. Now let's start figuring out what we've got going on here, because there's various support jobs I can research. And what I've got in my empire right now is, the capability of maybe having 3 different mines. So when I start looking at advanced jobs, I'm probably interested in these jobs down here, which is why I've already actually done dredgers. So dredgers double the production of your diggers. But if you want to train a dredger, you need some tools, but I've got tools. Now, I might not necessarily be doing that much in the way of digging, because I can actually have miners. So what can I do to actually increase how good my miners are, if anything? Instead, I just need to actually upgrade my miners directly over here. Gotcha. So, if I wanted to, I could spend 10 tools to upgrade an additional +2 from any form of mine, and +6 treasure from, the gold miners. Okay, that's rather nice, yes. And then ultimately that goes up to spending boards, so I'd need to actually have refined wood from somewhere. Well, I do actually have the ability to do that. Screw it, let's get it done. I've got the tools and I've got the mines. This could work out for me nicely. Right, March, the wheat is not growing quite yet, but the caravan is here. So, these guys, if I wanted to, I could sell them a whole bunch of lumber. Yeah, I could sell them my entire lumber supply for 76, but I need to keep that. I'm keeping that because that lets me actually, 1, construct additional logging camps, so in 2 turns, even more flipping wood. You, by the way, need to... Hang on, why is there no supply around here? I'm not sure why there's no supply around here. Is it because it's too cold? Yeah, it's probably because it's too cold. Fine, you know what? You just get on with foraging. You'll be fine for the time being. I'm sure that's a-okay. And we've discovered iron. Oh, flip. Iron. Yeah, I'll be taking some iron, thank you. You just get on with digging up that iron. And we found something way up here. This is another civilization. But luckily borders don't really mean much, so I can just basically wander in, hide among their cows, figure out what's going on here. It's the Saxons! Hello, Saxons! Luckily, me and the Saxons get on with each other, alright? Because he was the first guy who contacted me. Fine. So me and him, we're cool. And now, oh yeah, the stone and the metal, it's all starting to come in here. So I might want to start, thinking about having some specialised jobs back home to have some, valuable stuff I could sell to the caravan to buy what I'm not capable of producing by myself. Though I need to watch out here. Yeah, look, this forest, I'm not sure what's going to happen to it. It might just actually completely disappear off the map at some point. I have no clue. But, things looking good here. We're going to have wood just flying in, which is marvellous. What else have we got, by the way? We've got... yes, of course. You're just floating around over here. May as well just see what's the far side of the Saxons. You just keep going on your merry way. And with the farm restored and foraging continuing as well, food supplies are now being rebuilt. We are now firmly back into spring. Beautiful. Now, here's the big one. It's April, and all the minor upgrades are ready to go. Meaning I can now build myself a massive gold mine, which is just flipping beautiful. And yeah, if I wanted to actually produce a gold shaft mine, I would need stone blocks. Okay, I'm guessing that's not stone. I'm guessing that's something else I need to produce. So, alright, armorsmith, smelters. Okay, that doubles iron production. Hang on, where do I get worked stone from? Ah, it's over down here in crafts. Okay, I'd need block cutters. So then I could convert my stone into stone blocks. The problem is that's going to take a whole 9 turns, because right now I'm not gaining many knowledge points per turn, because I've not even bothered investing in discovery. So how about we get discovery underway, get a few more knowledge points in, then I could actually get block cutting going on, then I could actually use that stone that I've got coming in to convert into stone blocks to make better quality mines to diddly virtuous cycle. Alright, it's May. Someone new has just shown up. I can actually switch, aha, someone's specialization to discovery. Who are you? Oh my, you have a magnificent moustache though. Right, we'll figure out what to do with you later. Kendrick, how would you like to specialize in learning? Because now we've opened up all of these. Now, where do we get the knowledge points from? I assume is that lawkeeper? Yes, producer's knowledge, spot on. But I think you see what I was talking about earlier. There are a lot of jobs in this game. Like a lot of jobs. Every single one of these is a job that someone could be doing. And some of them sync well together and some of them don't. It's amazing how many flipping jobs are going on here. But here's the biggie. Gold mine. Plus 12 treasure a turn once that's done. Then we could start buying everything we could ever flipping want from the caravan. And now we're starting to get into problems here. A log cabin has unfortunately degraded, meaning it's been around for a while, and now it's just slowly getting worn down. So the amount of wood we're producing has just dropped. And this log cabin is not as efficient as it once was, and in 24 turns, it'll just be exhausted. Completely flipping exhausted. Oh, my gold mine is done, and now I'm earning plus 15 treasure every single turn. Oh, that gold mine. That's sexy. Oh, it's June and the caravan is here. And we've got money to spend on it. Oh, this is beautiful. Now, what do we actually need here? Because, yeah, right now the caravan is... the caravan's not carrying anything... Well, it's understandable the caravan wouldn't be carrying, like, heavy stone or... Okay, I just clicked the upgrade button. I probably should have waited to check what was actually going to show up there. But now it's going to show up with... You know what? That's probably good. It's probably good that the caravan's going to show up with more stuff. And Kendrick becomes a lawkeeper. Beautiful. That'll give us the tech we need. And with that, yes, begin work on block cutting. And hopefully, once she's a lawkeeper, that will actually speed up quite significantly. Yeah, that's straight down to 4 turns away. That made a huge impact. But it's time for the big one. Vander is now at this point an archer. And these guys are archers too, but he's got all these benefits. Get in there, start flipping murdering him. This is all fine. And I've got hunters as backup. And the enemy is crippled and driven off. Beautiful. I've seized this building. I'd like to capture it, please. So my hunter managed to secure this place. Beautiful. And with that secured, I'm going to work under the assumption that, yeah, if I just occupy it, that will actually expand my borders quite significantly. Now, can you actually... Ooh, can you get involved? Yeah, the problem is these guys have now been wounded. And these guys are still full strength. I might need to bring up the reinforcements to finish off the last of the neutrals around here and drive them out for good. Oh, and as it turns out, I've actually stolen their guy. So Roderick, a level 3 crafting specialist, has actually been, yeah, captured. Meaning I'm technically over capacity right now. Spot on. I need to buy myself some cloth. In fact, hang on, where does cloth come from? Weaving! I'd need wool or flax. Don't have any of that right now. I'm kind of hoping, yeah, in 4 turns, maybe the caravan will have it for me. Alright, let's go in. Do a bit of archer on archer violence here. So, I'm damaged. Oh, so is he. This is probably, yeah, not a great idea to engage him, to be honest. But if I had enough firepower, okay, what if you finish off these guys and, like, level up or something? Because if you manage to kill him, yes, then you've actually picked up combat XP. Spot on. Also, Cedric has denounced Dressed. Whoever Dressed is, that really sucks for him. Right, you get in over here. Now, can we actually... We might be able to just start slowly wearing this guy down. Alright, we just need to get his morale down because his morale is almost broken. His health's fine, but his morale is almost broken. And there we go. And I would like to capture that. And, hang on, it just said something about occupation, but I didn't bother to read it. Okay, so for 4 turns, production and consumption are actually suspended. Then it will become mine properly. The problem, however, is these damaged units are damaged forever unless I use the heal command, which necessitates the use of oil and cloth, and I don't have either of them right now, so that's a bit of a problem. Also, a barbarian just came over and punched my explorer up here. Leave me alone, you big bully. And we kill their archer. Job done. Combat XP, lovely, flippin' lovely. We have claimed this territory for our own, even though this logging camp is, I think, almost completely broken. Still, the farm will be nice. We could do with a bit more food. That's certainly true. Oh, and block cutters are done. Yes, yes for the block cutters. Right, hang on. You, get back to base. Get in the settlement. I'm getting you retrained if you'd be so kind. Alright, you are becoming a block cutter. So change your profession. Block cutting. So that requires 10 tools to train. I have got 10 tools. And then once I've got that person already trained, it doesn't actually require tools anymore because he's already got the tools. At that point, he can just create stone blocks. Boom. You can do that in 3 turns. Beautiful. Also, there's an entire flipping 3rd tier of jobs I didn't even know was there. There are so many jobs. It's autumn. The caravan has shown up and the caravan has lots of good stuff in it, like cheese. Everybody loves cheese. Cheese, fish, other forms of food. Honestly, I've probably got enough food to survive the winter. That's no problem at all. Now, I do need... oh, wow. Oil is expensive. What about cloth? Okay, that's more reasonable. I will buy some cloth, and I'll buy, like, a little bit of oil. Alright, I will buy some oil just to basically, you know, make sure I'm good. Also, yeah, I'm supposed to spend a little bit of... No. I'm supposed to spend... Where is it? Here we go. Increase clan limit. Okay, there we go. Now my tribe isn't sad at me anymore because I can actually fit all the people I've just, like, stolen out of these houses with my beautiful hunters and their antler hats into my tribe. Spot on. And hopefully I've got enough left over to heal up my archer because he got a bit battered during that fight. Oh, here we go. We've actually got ourselves, block cutting. Meaning now I'm gaining plus 2 stone blocks a turn. Meaning the next time I build a mine, it can be a proper stone mine. And I think, if I've read the tooltips correctly, stone mines don't wear out over time. So once I get those mines down, I will just have iron and stone and gold coming in forever. And you, my good man, need to be healed. Yes, and blimey, 5 oil and 5 cloth for any amount of healing. Okay, I mean, we established 5 oil is very, very expensive. Right, you do not go to war lightly in this game, because it costs a flipping ton to heal up a unit once it's damaged. But there we go, my archers are now ready to be back in action, which is good, because it looks to me like a bandit has just shown up in our territory. So it sure is bloody convenient. I've got a fully healed up and now very experienced archer ready to go. Though arguably a bit on the concerning side, the only guy in my entire tribe who's actually good at fighting is the guy who hates me because I publicly humiliated him at one point. That could end badly, yes. Oh, he's coming in and he's trying to pillage. No, get in there. Oh, bloody hell, we can't get there in time. He's going to successfully pillage it because my archers can't make it through the snow. Dear oh flippin' dear. He's actually damaged as well. I assume he's been just taking damage because he actually doesn't have the supplies because the barbarians are obeying supply limits too. Darn it. He might actually just successfully burn that place to the ground. But that's fine. I've got plenty of spare wood, so it's not exactly the biggest deal in the world. Oh, boo, he's burnt it down and now he's bloody fleeing faster than I could pursue. And also he's driven off a digger. Wait, hang on, is that... He's stolen my digger! He's actually stolen my digger! Right, it's like civilization. He's just actually come and stolen one of my flipping workers. How much to repair this place? Alright, 2 turns. Apparently it doesn't cost anything. Fine, we'll screw you. We'll sort that out later. But yes, he has just gone and flipping stolen my flipping miner. Oh, looks like he's actually come in for... Yep, he came in for an attack on me. Didn't work out for him. Beautiful. And with my supply limit up, people are actually joining. I need to go and get this guy back, however. He needs to be rescued before he makes the foolish decision to go and join some other bandit tribe over here or something. Still, at least the bandit is dead. And you know what, ladies and gentlemen? I think you get the point. Or maybe you don't, because... yes, this is a game made by one of the minds behind Civilization, and naturally that means there is a ludicrous amount of depth. There's a lot of stuff going on here, alright? There's a lot of flipping stuff going on. But what I'll say, what I really love about it is you can hover over anything and it properly explains, like, everything to you. Like, you know, it properly says what things are for, where they're coming from, how long until it's going to degrade, what degradation actually means. Everything is extremely well explained. Like, even though there's not a proper tutorial at this point, though apparently there's going to be in the future, you don't really need it, just because if you hover over something, everything is explained really, really clearly. Like, it feels like you can just get to grips with it. And there's a lot I like here. There's an awful lot I like, and it's just, yeah, somewhat surreal to be playing something that feels so much like Civilization, and yet has some interesting different ways of doing things floating around in it as well. I am a fan. I am very much a fan, but I feel like I've barely even scratched the surface here, ladies and gentlemen. The ultimate goal, by the way, is basically to displace Rome in one of two ways. Either by going and finding Rome or Constantinople, which are apparently, like, somewhere on the map. Don't know where, but they're somewhere. Obviously, this isn't the full extent of the map. The map just kind of unfolds a lot further as you actually fill it out. So, Rome and Constantinople are out here somewhere. If you're able to burn them to the ground, and by the way, the Romans are guarding them, then you win the game. Alternatively, you can win by basically turning yourself into the Roman army, which you do by, hang on here, yes, taking one of your people and training them as Roman legions. So they disappear out of your tribe for 24 turns. You need to provide them with 10 steel weapons and 10 steel armor, which is, you know, advanced, high-level, high-tier stuff. And then they come back as a Roman legion, which I'm assuming is going to be an elite military unit and very, very useful indeed. Train enough of them, and effectively you've just become the Roman army, and then you may as well be running Rome. Because, yeah, in late Western Roman imperial history, whoever controlled the army did pretty much just run the show. So that's perfectly historically accurate. And I should stress, this is a really tiny slither of the map right here, because this is just me and my nearest neighbour. I think there's like 8 other main tribes out there, together with various Romans floating around as well. This isn't actually real Europe, by the way. It's not an actual picture of Europe. It's like, you know, a randomly generated map that looks a little bit like Europe. It's supposed to be Europe-y, so that's what we're actually playing on here. Yeah, there's a lot here I like. There's a lot here I like, and I'll keep an eye on this video does, because I think this can make a very good live stream, and potentially a very long live stream might be the best way to dig into it. So, I'll have a think about that, ladies and gentlemen. I'll keep an eye on how the video does. But in the meantime, I've been Jon. This has been many a true nut, and this has been Jon Shafer's At The Gates. Thank you very much, and goodbye. You know, I really hope we've agreed open borders with Japan, by the way. Otherwise, they have basically just invaded. I may have picked the wrong fight over... Yep. And my cities, of course, have got even more flipping high-tech, though mysteriously still completely dependent on, you know, an aqueduct. Now, I'm not saying your entire army is mostly already dead, but it kind of actually is.